So we're going to look at Salatul Istisqa. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So this prayer is the prayer of rain. This prayer is asking for rain to be sent down on the land and the people, asking for rain in events of drought. So it's highly recommended voluntary sunnah to pray this prayer. Asking for rain is mentioned in the Quran when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and said, "As for forgiveness from your Lord, indeed He is ever perpetual forgiver. He will send rain from the sky." The hadith of Sahih Bukhari and Muslim agreed upon the hadith of Anas when there was a drought at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and while the Prophet was delivering the Friday speech, a nomad stood up and said, "O Prophet of Allah, our wealth has been destroyed and our dependents are starving." So the Prophet raised his hands and asked Allah for rain, and it poured down for a whole week. This is one part of asking for rain. There's three ways to ask for rain. So the scholars said there's three types. So supplicate to Allah and making dua without prayer. This can be done individually, as when I ask Allah in my free time, praising Allah, praising times, voluntary prayer, sujood, the times of answering prayer. The second type is during the khutbah Jummah, as per the hadith of Anas. The Imam during the khutbah makes dua and asks Allah for rain, and the congregation would raise their hands and say Ameen. This is the only time when the congregation during the Jummah raise their hands, because when the Imam makes dua and khutbah, we put our hands down saying Ameen, except when he asks for rain, we raise our hands. The third way to ask for rain is reading this Salatul Istisqa, because this is what the Prophet ﷺ had done. So the format of the prayer, the format is the same as Eid prayer. So the Imam prays 2 rakats. There is no adhan and iqama, and he offers takbir in the first rakat and second rakat. The sunnah is to offer 7 takbir in the first rakat and 5 takbir in the second rakat. If takbir or ihram is included, which is mandatory in every prayer where you say it, with the usual prayers, our Fard prayers, within the 7th takbir in the first rakat, there's a slight confusion. So you can't separate it. So you offer the takbir or ihram and then the 7th takbir, or takbir or ihram and 6th takbir minus the takbir of ihram. In terms of the second rakat, it's been agreed upon that you say Allahu Akbar, but you add 5 takbirs as mentioned before. So the Allahu Akbar you say first is, you say that first and it's separate from the 5 takbir. So you offer 6 takbir altogether in the second rakat. So for the prayer, so you say takbir or ihram, then you say the dua, that you say, and then you do, which is, the usual dua, and then you do the takbir of Eid and pray 2 rakats. After prayer, it is a sunnah for the Imam to give a khutbah, a speech where he will supplicate us for Allah's forgiveness and tell the people to ask forgiveness. So the sunnah is, which these sunnahs are often not even mentioned whatsoever, and the sunnah is to take off your cloak and turn it inside out and wear it the other way, because this is what is reported by the hadith of Abdullah ibn Zayd, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after praying 2 rakats, he faced the Qibla. After he faced the Qibla, he changed the wearing of the cloak. Some scholars say that this is done in order of being optimistic and as part of glad tidings that Allah will change things for the best. If one misses the first rakat, he prays the second rakat with the Imam, and when Imam gives salam, they rise up to give you 5 takbīrs and complete it. But when you go for the prayer and it starts to rain, you don't need the rain prayer. You can go back. What's already happened, you're not going to go to pray the rain prayer. The sunnah when it rains is that he would expose much of his body as possible. When the companions used to say, "Why do you do this, O Prophet of Allah?" The Prophet ﷺ says, because it had newly come from its Lord. So the Prophet is seeking barakah from the rainfall because it's close to Allah, it is very near, and it would allow it to hit his body as much as possible. Also, the Prophet ﷺ will make the dua for rain, which is Allahumma sayyiban nafiya, let it be beneficial rain. Also, there's another dua as well, which you can find as well when it rains, and make a general dua as well. And if it rains a lot, there's a fear and there's a harm of rains and floods. There's also a dua for having clear skies, which is Allahumma hawlana, etc. There's more to it. This was also done by the Prophet ﷺ when there was 1 week of rainfall, when it he prayed for Jummah the second week. He said this Allah would not destroy the lands and harm the people. So this is where I'm going to conclude the video. So inshallah you'll be able to find the supplication for rain, because they're long. Supplication said when it rains, after rain falls, and asking for clear skies in the Fortress of the Muslim book, which contains this, inshallah. So I'll leave you here. Fi amanillah wa sallallahu wa baraka ala nabina Muhammad. Astaghfirullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.